Hi, happy day. Thank you for visiting my channel. If you're new here, my name is Miriam. Um, and you're supposed to be seeing my face and hearing my voice and hearing the words or whatever and make whatever sense of it that you make of it. And it's going to make sense to you whenever you find this because I don't really, I've noticed that a lot of the messages, people are commenting on old stuff that I thought was for right then and there. Um, but, this is all timeless. I'm all over the place. I have been on a fast for the past few days. So I've just been keeping it really low key. I've been staying in prayer. I've been connecting. And it's interesting because this is something that is palpable. This destination that you're at. It's like you are so aware that you are on the right path that no one can tell you anything, even if, source, if your angels or whatever, if they send a test to you to be like, are you sure you want to do this? And you're like, and you could trust yourself so hard, wholeheartedly, gosh, with your heart. Your heart is leading you. That's Christ consciousness. You're fully Christ. That's what you're moving in now, and you're able to comprehend that it's a everyday moment to moment. It's a choice. Your will, your will is to do what you've been doing. Every time you start something, you already know that when it's going to end because you haven't ever been doing the thing you're supposed to be doing. There's something that you've been avoiding that you don't want to do because you know it's going to be never ending. You're always like, no, 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 I don't want to do that. I don't wanna do that. But you know that you're good at it and you do kind of love it, or the you don't love the process of it, but you like the end result of it. And so you kind of accepted this path that you like the end result of a process. So you've accepted the mundane steps or the things that you don't really like about it, or whatever it was that you were deeming, it doesn't seem to matter anymore because now you've completed it a couple of times. So you know how good that feels as opposed to how tedious or monotonous or frustrating it can be on the path to that end result, because it's not like you're doing the same thing all the time. Whew. I've been only having water. Water's a lot more delicious now. I wasn't planning on making a video until after my fast, until it was completed, but I was told it is time now, and that whatever I need to figure out between now and the next fast I can, or between the end of the fast. Um, and then I can share it then. 515, as I looked at the time recording. This is not the first time you've done this. It's simply the first time that you've accepted it about yourself and been thankful for it, as opposed to seeing it as a burden or a responsibility. Now, the main source in your life is responsibility. You feel responsible a lot, or like you feel like you should be more responsible or whatever, but you're already pretty damn responsible. 3131 on my television, I have it paused and shows views in minutes. So try not to laugh challenge 166, Simon Says, with Smosh. 31K views 31 minutes ago. Yeah, so essentially you've been responsible the whole time, um, but you're already so hard on yourself. So even critiques that were made about other people, you're mindful of within yourself. So like if you're the people you love, people you care about are critiquing another person, sometimes they're directly critiquing you and saying you're useless or you're whatever, something. Um, and these things just like are easy to stick to you because it's coming from somebody whose opinion you care about. And so when they speak on other people, or if whatever, even if you're watching a show or something, sometimes the fast is from food, sometimes the fast is from social media, sometimes the fast is from um, adult content, sometimes the fast is from um, sensual pleasures. Uh, in general, you can fast from anything. Just taking a break is essentially that's. I find that fasting with food, although difficult, is something that I can do whenever um, whenever it comes to like a transaction, an understanding with myself that one, I've done all the things that I needed to prep for it. Then I make sure that I'm hydrated during it. I'm not doing too much. I'm not running around acting crazy. I'm taking things slow, and then having the step-by-step meal program to go back into eating. Um, and this is something that has been difficult for me, and I feel easy to speak. I feel like I want to speak on it now, because just some type of disordered eating, and this is a trigger warning for disordered eating and eating disorders, obviously. But a lot of times when it comes to disordered eating, especially in people who have the hormones that I have, which is going to be estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. What's the other one? I pay attention to cortisol. A lot of people, men, have cortisol. Some people don't, no matter what their gender or their sex, they don't produce estrogen at all or progesterone. But either way, whenever you're balancing hormones in your body, and we are being fed the things that we're being fed in this world, in this America, I'm in America, a lot of the food here does contain a lot of fillers and things that make us sick, essentially. Um, a big one for me is gluten. I eat it and I blow up. Like I literally like, and I didn't know that, and I had eaten gluten my whole life. Um, and it's delicious. You know, the only reason why I was able to stop is because I got sick. I got really sick. And so I just simply couldn't eat it anymore. I just simply could not eat it anymore. Um, and so that's why I was able to stop, is because anytime I ate something with it in there, I was so miserable for months on end. And so I leaned on spirit a lot during that time. I leaned on my guides a lot. Um, because when you're in that much pain for so long and you're not able to eat, and anytime you do eat, it is something so visceral in you and painful. I quite literally have PTSD. I mean, like, I see PTSD from that incident on top of the other incidents of my life, of course, because let's collect the traumas, or whatever. And that really caused me a point where I was at this point where I was just so stuck in a cycle, believing that this is happening to me and there's nothing I can do about it. And what am I supposed to do? And I'm just here stuck. And then I stopped being stuck. I cut out gluten. Um, and it was a long process. It took me years to get it right because it was just it's sneaky. It's everywhere, and it's not just wheat. Anybody who's like, "Oh, you can't eat wheat?" Yes, I can't eat wheat. I also have to avoid barley and rye. This is all people who have a gluten intolerance or celiac. I don't know if I have celiac. I just might have an intolerance. But it's hidden in the world. And so it took me a long time. And so when I do fast, which is not often, not full fasting, I'll do like an intermittent fasting depending on my menstrual cycle, because I do pay attention to that, because it kind of lets me know what my hormones are at and lets me know how I can fast or how I should be eating or can eat. Um, and surprisingly, I'm at a space now in my life where I don't feel so scared of having some type of disordered eating, because I have been able to understand what my body had been telling me for so long. So whenever I was mad at myself for being overweight and I couldn't lose weight, no matter what I did, um, because I still had gluten in my diet. Gluten was still around, even in like the most, even in keto diets, there's still a little bit of gluten in things. And it gave me room to forgive myself for also reacting so mean to myself, because it doesn't just affect my weight, it affected my mental health. And it wasn't because I was overweight. Like I always thought I was cute. I didn't mind being bigger. At like I thought I was cute. I dressed cute. And I treated my body nice, even though I was like the societally being bigger. I hold it cute. So, um, but quite literally, my cortisol levels would just spike. I'd be so anxious all the time. And then I'd be so anxious that that would lead to me just being so down. Like, I can't even really call it a depression, because it was like, I'm just like, I could see the rise and fall of it. And it was according to my menstrual cycle. And so that's what, you know, helped me a lot, was going by my timeline, by what my body was telling me. And so when you talk to your body, it often gives you a little subtle little message. Maybe not all the time. Maybe it's hard to hear right now, but it is there. It is giving you a message in all the noise. Speaking of noise, um, there was this. This reminds me of a walk that I was on, and I was deep in the woods in this pine forest, and it was so quiet. I mean, you could hear things like nature and stuff. Then all of a sudden, I hear. I'm like, what is that? And it's just like one of those boxes, like those I guess like electrical boxes that just like is in the ground sometimes. I don't know. And maybe not. It might have been something else, like a water thingy or something. Um, but it was to like a house, like a generator or something like that. And I could hear it so clearly from like far away. I mean, it wasn't so loud that it was like, "Wah!" I kind of was hyperbolic there, but it was loud. And that was just one of them. And we're out here in the world with so much going on. Even in my house, like, I've got so much noise. I've got a hydroponic system. I've got, I mean, there's nothing growing in it. I just have it going for the sound of the water. um, but, if you have any type of neighbors, if you have any type um, of AC unit or, whatever, it's always making noise. The creaks of where you're living, and so sometimes it can be hard to hear that little voice inside of you that says, hey, when you say, hey, body, how should I stretch you right now? Just give it a second. Or, hey, body, I would say, what do you want to eat right now? But that's complicated. But, hey, body, mm, where do you want to be right now? What temperature do you want? Something small, just starting out small. Things that you feel like you already know the answer to from the outside. And then it'll be a confirmation or something. Um, but eventually, that quiet voice is more of like a feeling. And being intuitive, it sometimes feels like you've already heard a lot of this stuff. And like finding ways to apply it is difficult. And it's because, like, I heard hermit. Because you're hermiting right now. You're in hermit mode. It's not time to go out and show off and pop up and show. you know, right now it's time for you to hermit and learn and be patient. And sometimes, like, you're reading and that's all that stuff, and like it's good to study, it really is. But if you only study and you just keep cramming forever and you don't let your brain rest, then it's harder for you to actually like keep that memory of learning that thing. So, what I learned is that if I paint while listening to something that I'm learning, if I go visit that painting or if I go to paint again, I'll remember the things that I was learning about. Or even if it's not learning, it'll be like a random podcast. So I noticed how much of a podcast I could remember. And so I started utilizing that for study. So if I'm doing dishes and any activity, that a physical activity, because it isn't just painting. So I would start being mindful of what I was listening to while doing a little bit more monotonous things. So then, whenever I return to those monotonous things, I get to have that conversation with myself about how much was semi subconsciously um, drilled in during that time. Not only with the content that I was listening to, but the activity that I was doing. It almost makes the memory more vivid for both of those activities. And it makes it to where this is more the true version of multitasking, which is by not doing more than one thing at a time. I'm only doing one thing. I'm doing the hand stuff of the monotonous task or the task. Um, the listening and all of that is something that happens passively. It's an involuntary muscle, like how your heart just beats, and your intestines just motilitize. They just be moving. We have a lot of involuntary muscles like sphincters and all of that, and some of our sphincters we can control. That can be a bit more voluntary. But we have a lot of involuntary responses, and listening is one of them, um, especially whenever we're doing something that is a bit more active. And perhaps that's because of the animalistic nature that we all have within us. So if we are deep in activity, it's important for us to be able to hear things around us, even if our mind isn't present. So then our body can respond. Because we're not that far away from those people who had to defend themselves from actual predators, apex predators. Um, like our technology was really advanced and happened quickly, but still very very close in time. Um, and that's it. Mind blank, just like that, and then you'll just be done. And then you'll just be done. It's like vomiting. I'm gonna get really sick, and you just like have like the norovirus or something, and like, because I've had that, and I just had to remember that this too shall pass. It's a terrible feeling, being nauseous, and then even the feeling of upchucking, terrible. It's the worst. Just no thank you. And then all of a sudden you're done. And you're like, whoa, I'm good. Now, whenever you're sick and it just keeps coming and coming and coming, there's nothing there, eventually it stops. And that relief is wild. Just being like, oh my gosh, I survived that. I thought, I mean, because you can't breathe some of the time. My own personal hell has to do with stomach stuff. If you can't tell, um, I often talk about constipation. I talk about the GI tract a lot because honestly, your girl got tummy issues, and I'm proud to say that they have lessened greatly, and it is because I listen to myself, and you know about yourself better than anyone else, and it's like you're always trying to convince them, but you don't have to do that because you're already convinced. And so you just moving accordingly is what you are doing. And those rewards are very clear. So enjoy. About 24:42. Yeah, so 6 6 1 3 1 2 3. Anyway, I will catch you on the flip side, gang. What? Or I won't. This might be the last ever message you get from Miriam. Because life happens. Death happens. Got a little dark there. But, it's true. Anything could happen. It's the end of the world for somebody every single day. Maybe every second of every day. And so in the meantime, I want to say that I'm thankful for you all. And that I'm thankful to see people working on themselves. Keep a look out for the numbers and stay synchronized.